Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. We are testing that we are going live now, and we will start within a minute. Hello everyone, hope you are able to hear me. We'll start our journey, and in today's journey we will talk about transform data. We have talked about ingestion. We have seen the various way we can ingest the data and various way we on the various places where we can store the data. Now time has come that we look little more into the transform data. You've already seen we can do it using Dataflow Gen 2, but yes, we can also do it using PySpark and Spark SQL. So there are two other methods we can use, and it is not only limited to PySpark and Spark SQL, but we can use also Scala, which is native to Spark, and we can also use Spark R. And for these things, we typically use notebooks. Notebooks primarily direct interact with lake houses, but yes, we have been given a facility where we can also make them use along with warehouse. So with that, we will be jumping on today's content. But for those of you who are joining new, I will also share the exam voucher link, and I'll also share the video link using which you can apply for the exam vouchers. Those of you already applied, they should get the voucher within next couple of weeks from the date of apply. So just confirm to me in case you are able to hear me clearly, and we can proceed. I'll just check out your comments to the description. So those who are hearing this live, can they confirm in the chat window if they are able to hear me clearly? Okay, so these are some of the important links for those who are joining this series for very first time. So this is the link, the first link to apply for the vouchers. You need to mention which series you are attending. That need to be correctly mentioned there, and also you can watch this video how to apply for it. And those who have not joined our WhatsApp group is there where we keep on sharing such information. And if you are from Hyderabad, India, we are planning to have an in-person event also, where you will be able to clarify your doubts before giving your DP700 exam with experts. So few experts will join there. You can clarify some of your exam doubts. This is the seventh class in the series. We plan to do 10 such classes. Tomorrow we will be having the 8th class. So tomorrow morning we will be talking about monitoring and security. To begin today's journey, we need a lake house to start. And as you remember, in the starting of this series, we have created a lake house, Lake 01, which you can see on my screen now. Let me zoom it a little bit. I clicked on it, and the lake house is now getting open. Now why I am opening my lake house? To open the notebook from lake house, I don't need to mention a lake house, or I don't need to attach it, but for everybody's reference I'm going to do that anyways. And then I can go here and let's see from where we can get data. Okay, because I have actually unzoomed, so let me, yeah, okay. So either at the end in the three dots, or in the open notebooks, new notebook or existing notebook. In this case I'm going to use new notebook. What you see on the left hand side, that I will get my data already attached here. See, the lake house 01 has came already inside the item. But if I want to attach, if I want to have multiple lake houses, I can attach. So I can go ahead and add one more lake house, existing lake house. I can take it from different workspace. Now the concept of fully qualified name after the schemas has came is changed for lake house. Now the fully qualified name could be across workspace. So workspace name, lake house name, schema name, table name. If you have access, you will be able to see data across workspaces. While for the warehouse or the SQL endpoint, it is still lakehouse name or warehouse name, schema name and table name. In case of lakehouse, if those lakehouses schemas, we can even go across workspaces by giving workspace name, lakehouse name, schema name and table name. But the one important thing which you have to remember, you need to have permission in both the workspaces to access the data. So I don't want to add another one. Whenever we add more than one, we have to mark one of them as primary. So which one we are going to use. But here if you see set as a default lake house, I only have one lake house. So that lake house is a default lake house. Now switching to a default lake house sometimes create a lot of issues if they have very similar name. Like I have lake house 01 and lake house 01. In such cases, what I do is whatever I don't require, I first remove it and then I add it again. So these are some practical challenges which you might face. Okay, those of you are aware of notebooks, you know that notebooks can help us in writing down the code and testing it out or executing it on the Spark technologies, and four of them: PySpark, Spark, Spark SQL, and Spark R. We have environment which is we are using the workspace setting. At the workspace level, we can decide this environment in the workspace setting, and there we are using this runtime 1.3, Spark 1.5, Delta 3.2, and with each version there are little change in property. If I want to change the environment, I can click on that, but I have not created any other environment, so I'll not be able to change it. You need to create that again at the workspace. If I want to create new environment, I can go ahead and create a new environment and I can give it a name and set the property. So do try that out. Data Wrangler is again very important. Means it is going to give you a UI very similar to Power Query. Means you will be able to use UI or menu items to write the complex code. Then you have add to pipeline. You can add this to pipeline. You can open this code into the VS Code. Then there are options like run cell above, run cell below, connect, new standard session, new high concurrency check. Standard session, all of us are going to use the standard session. High concurrency session, is you need to be using the same Spark environment. They need to be run by the same user. There are certain limitations, but the advantage of high concurrency session is, especially when you are working in a pipelines with multiple notebooks, that you don't have to start the multiple Spark sessions. It can continue with the same session. So it's always prefer when you use pipeline, and by default in the pipeline sometimes it is high concurrency session only. And if you are using or running a session, you can view the session information. Now whenever you run a cell for very first time, even if your Spark engine is not started, it's going to start your Spark engine. Now we are going to start our journey with PySpark. Python is basically use Python specialized, and that is basically the version of the Python which is supported for Spark. Means there are enhancements done or additional functions have been provided in that for Spark. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you how to query the data first of all. So what I've done is on the left hand side I opened my tables, and inside the tables I opened the schema, and inside the schema I can see my tables. I can drag a table and drop it inside my cell. These are my cells, and it automatically gives me code to query the 1000 rows and displaying it. Display df, display is the function which displays the data. We have many such functions. Display is not only function. We have show, we have had, all these type of functions are there. Tons of functions are there, but we are only going to use right now. The display df function. I have a blog on Medium. I'll share the article for that here, where you can find out the common commands for PySpark which should be knowing for Fabric. So let me share that also with you. So you have blog on my Medium. You will find blog for both PySpark, KQL. So please do refer to this. And for those who are appearing for DP700, PySpark, SQL, KQL, and Power Query are really important, along with all the security stuff. Lot of depth is needed if you want to appear for DP700. So do go ahead and practice. Look at various functions which are needed for data engineering, especially in PySpark. Okay, do look about, looking into the history of the file. When we talk about delta file, so delta file could have a version which you can go and look into the past. All those things to try out. So what we have done is we have selected the 1000 rows and we have displayed them using the DF display. Now this display gives you a very good UI. It's a UI where you get this table. In this table you can actually go ahead and click on these three dots, sort it. Basically kind of analytical table. If you click on any of the column, it just gives the distribution of that particular column. You can download this data in CSV, JSON or XML format. You can search anything. Like I want to search, let's say, is there a 3 anywhere in the data? It will give me 3 anywhere in this data which I have displaying here. And if you want to do some kind of data wrangling on it, you can go ahead and do that. You can create a new chart here. So basically you can click on new chart and you can start displaying a new chart. And then with this is suggested chart. You can go ahead and modify this chart further once you select it. Let me select this chart. And then after the suggested chart, I can go ahead and modify this also. So start editing, you can use start editing, and then you can choose various different kind of charts. Bar, column chart. Choose the key you want. Let's say instead of invoice date key, you want description, or you want package, or you want quantity. Definitely I would not like want quantity. I would like to have stock item, and then I can have quantity here. So all these things you can. And do you want to have aggregation on that or not? So these are the different stuff which you can try and create your visualization and analyze the data. So if you want to do a little bit of analysis, you can do in this. Now what we would like to do is we would like to do little more things on data engineering. So we want to see, can we bring in data? Now to bring in data, we will go to take help from the pandas library from Python. If the pandas library is not available, we have to install it. And this is what happens in Python, that if we don't have something, we do install it. So I'm going to add a new code block, and inside this code block, I'm going to give you the complete code. And this URL is the same URL we are using, you remember? For last few classes, we have used this file multiple times. Case data used in Fabric. See, we do have, this develop, run only, edit and view modes are available here. And also who can change depends on the permission you have given that on the notebooks. These can be source controlled. All the notebooks can be source controlled, and you can also view the history of it. So everything which you require for your CI/CD is available with the notebooks. And if you ask me, best supported on the notebooks. So import, when we want to import something, new library, import pandas as PD, we give an extension. Excel file path, this is my path of the file which I have already shared in the live chat. And then how do I read it? I give a data frame name, pd.read excel, excel path, sheet name. So pd is the pandas.read excel function. I am using read excel path and its name. And df says me is going to create data frame. Says df customer, it is reading customer sheet, df geography reading geography sheet, and df item reading item sheet. So all four of them I should get it. So let me run it. Now Python can have its own connector as long as those connectors have access to your data source, because it's an online data source and it is not restricted by IPs, so I'm able to get it easily. Now you can see it has loaded my data within 11 seconds. I would like to do that, and I did talk about few commands that we can display data with multiple commands, not only that command. So let me bring in a new command for you to print the data. So I'm going to print now df_sales.head, and head typically you can get the 5 rows or 10 rows by default, but if you want to increase that number you can increase. So df_sales.head is going to return me 5, and by default you can see when I hover over the function, you can see the default n is 5, and it gets that header part of it, means the first 5 rows, and then you can print it. Okay. Now what else I can do with PySpark? Okay, I would like to filter the data and display, isn't it? So how do I filter? There are multiple ways again, but let me tell you one simple way. And this data I can generate using Wrangler also. The data which the code which I am showing you is basically was generated using Wrangler. I am skipping that step this time, but you can watch the older series where I have used that step. So there is a function we are defining it, define or def clean data set we are passing, and in that data set we are saying df_sales.cityid equal to 1 and return df_sales. What we are doing is we are filtering the df_sales and returning it, and what we are doing, we are calling this we are creating a new data frame df_sales clean, and in df_sales clean we are sending a copy of df_sales so that it does not change the original one, and then we are finally coming and displaying the df_sales where the city id is 1. So I got the data for city id 1. So in this manner I can filter the data. Now this code you can go ahead and generate in Wrangler also, means you can go to the Wrangler, it will give you the UI, and using that UI you can generate this code and then come back and use it. So we can display any of the 4 tables also, like we have displayed the filter table, we can also display the full table. But there is a limitation, you will not get all the rows, so you maximum rows is controlled, so maximum I think it is 10,000 or it's 1,000 only, we can't get more than that. 10,000 we can get max. Do try out little more because limitations keep on changing. Now what we created a data frame is pandas data frame. Now in Spark we do have Spark data frame. Now there are few certain operations which you can do on Spark data frame, and one of the additional operations which you can do is you can save it as delta file. Now to save to the delta file I need Spark data frame, not pandas data frame. And there are operations which can happen on pandas data frame, so we can keep on changing it from pandas data frame to Spark or Spark to pandas depending on the requirement. So there is a function we have in the spark.create data frame. We go to create the data frame, and while creating this data frame it can take a pandas data frame and convert it into Spark data frame. So I'm going to convert all 4 of my data frames into the Spark data frame. Now once I'm done with that, I can go and look at the data of all 4 of them. Not going to make any difference, but what I'm going to do is there are various functions. So one of the function which you are looking at is describe, and once we describe it, again it's going to give us data which we want to show, so we are going to use show function. So another function to display the result is show. So let's understand what does it gives, and then I'll explain you. So there are 2 functions which give you little stats about your data. One of the function is describe. So describe is going to give you count, mean, standard deviation, min and max for each of the column. Order number, how many count I have, what is the mean, min, max, and the min max, and then we have, I think, where we can see. So count, mean, standard deviation, max. Now because all of these unique IDs you will be seeing that, but I think quantity is the column where you can see a little better. So like 30,000, one is this, max is 3, the mean is 0.66. Okay, these are the stuff which is, so I can get it for all of them. So you want to know about your data. Basically whenever we come to Python, especially like if data scientists are working on that, they definitely want to understand this data better. And if you want to use display, not only the show, then you can go ahead and display the display function also. So sales.describe and display function. So in this manner you will get little better UI where you can look at the data in much better manner. You get count, mean, standard deviation, min, max. But there is one more function which gives you statistical summaries, and the function itself is summary, isn't it? So describe gives you 5 kind of stats. Summary is going to give you a little more additional. It do talk about the quadrant. So 25% data, 50% data, 75% data, where it is like. Now I am running it on primary key columns. So that is why you see 1, 25, 50, 75. Second is, it is not going to give any value for text column for few of them. Like there is no standard deviation, first quartile, second quartile, or third quartile for text data. So it's not going to give. So all these statistical operations, see how it is easy. You are just talking about the table, and itself for all the columns you can just say summary and it gives you the for all those. So in this manner, you know, things become really easy in Spark. But you know, you have to, you know, there is a little learning curve if you are coming from the SQL world, SQL world. So you have to go ahead and learn it a little bit. Now what happens is, all my these 4 tables which I have created and which I have loaded right now, they are in a perfect star schema, no missing keys. But we are data engineers here. You want to, you know, go ahead and, you know, learn how to do left join, right join, full join, inner join, anti join, and to learn all of them we need data which is not completely matching, because otherwise inner join will work. So to understand that, what we can do is, we can create the smaller versions of these data so that both the side have something missing, they are deficient. Okay, so we create a new data frame from sales and filter the sales table, sales.filter. Now see, previously we used little different thing. Now you have function also filter. In the filter function you can give sales dot column name, and you have between equal to, all those things you can try out. So I am filtering the customer IDs between 59 to 60. Same way customer I am filtering it between 50 to 60. So there is an overlap of 58, 59. So there is an overlap of 59, 60, and there is not matching of 61, 62 in the sales table, and non-matching in customer table from 51 to 58. We give this commands and run it, and we now got 2 data frames which are having little less data. And all these which I am running right now, 2 places you can get all these things. One is definitely I have given you the complete article where you can get it, and the second place where you are going to get it is the GitHub. In the GitHub also, in my account, here you will have all these things. See, you will get Spark SQL in 2 format, HTML format or in the IPYNB format. All these things are available there, and the article is the best one. Refer to that article. Now I would like to join. We are data engineers, we always like to join the data, perform complex transformation. We might create surrogate key and then populate those surrogate keys back. So we need joins, and we know we have different kind of join: inner join, give matching data; left join, which give matching data plus everything additional in the left; right join, which gives matching data plus everything which is additional in the right side table. So all these things we can do. So first thing we wanted to learn is inner join. How do I do the inner join? So I'm going to create a new data frame, inner join df. This is just a name. Sales.filter is my first table which I created. Sales.filter is not the filtering mechanism here, it's the data frame which is already available above. And sometime I may call it table because I am coming from the SQL world where we have this, tables and then joins. So, but here it is data frame already in memory. So sales filter dot join, and then we give the second table name. So what is my second table name? Customer filter, which is already having the filter data, and the join column customer ID. Now there is this particular set of tables. This particular set of tables have the common column name which is exactly matching. I'll also tell you what happens when they don't match. So I'm using the common column name in both the tables, customer ID, and I'm doing type of join which is inner join. And what exactly we call here is, so we need to give the other data frame on and how, okay, on which column and how we are going to inner join. And then finally once we got it, we want to display it. We want to see are we getting the correct join or not. So I'm doing the inner join, and what would happen in the inner join is only going to give the matching rows. What was our matching IDs, customer ID? 59 and 60, and knowingly I cut it down. So I'm getting only 59 and 60, and you can observe that in my data here. See, if you look at my data, I'm only getting 59 and 60. And while you are observing that, I think one of you asked for sharing the Medium article I'm giving you. And this is not only the article we have on Medium. Please go ahead and explore my profile. You will get an equal article. You will also get few more concepts around Fabric. You should also get something about PySpark and all those things. Few articles are there, around 50-60 articles are there on different topics, including Power BI and Fabric. So now we are happy, we know how to use inner join. But are we going to stop on inner join? So we would like to do how to do left join. Now we understand, it's going to be very easy. In place of inner, we are going to use left, and we are going to get left join. What left join means for you? First of all, which is the left table? The table for which you are starting this code, sales filter, is going to become the left table. Typically the first table is the left table. That's what we do. The second table inside after we do the join is going to be the right table. What does left join means? All the joining data plus the data which is not joining in the left table, for which there is a missing key on the right hand side. So the IDs for which the data is missing even in the customer table, that is also going to come. And how we are going to check it? We are going to check it by scrolling into the data. And let's scroll on this side. Wherever you see these nulls, these are the columns coming from the customer table. And where do I see null? So we have to look at the customer ID of that particular column. So these rows, let's say this row, what is the customer ID of this? 62. So we know that from 61, 62, we will not have the matching customer IDs because we have not bought that in this filtered data. So for this row, but you will observe that there is no data for the customer ID. So in this manner, we are getting the left join, where we are getting everything from both from the sales table and the matching data, which is between customer and sales. So now we got the left join correctly identified. Right join. Now what would happen in case of right join? Only thing which we are changing is the how we are joining. So basically the join type is basically which we are saying, okay, the default is inner. It must be inner, cross, outer, full outer join, left outer join, right outer, semi, left semi, NT, left underscore NT. Okay, so these kind of join we have. So here now we are going to, I'm using a full here, but I can make it right just to showcase you the right join. and the name doesn't matter. I can, so what would happen when I do the right join? The customer's table non-matching data will also come. So matching plus non-matching, and you can see these rows where the sales data is blank. What does this mean is, for these customer I have not done any kind of sales in my sales filter data. So that's my right join. Then I can have full join. Full join means missing from both the places are going to come. So matching, missing of left, missing of right. So this is missing of left table, sales table. Then if we further scroll down, we should also get the data missing of right. So full join, matching data plus non-matching data from both the sides. Now there is something known as anti-join. Now those who are from the Power Query world knows about it. We do talk about, left empty, right empty. Now in PySpark, we have anti-join and left anti-join. There is no right anti-join. As there is no right anti-join, you have to just live with left anti-join. Anytime you need anti-join, you need to use left anti. Now what does left anti-join means? So when I say anti-join, and this is left anti, something which is present in the left table, not in the right table. So something which is in sales, not in customer. What does it mean for us? It means that what are my missing customers? What are the customer records I'm missing in my customer table for which I have done the sales? I would like to analyze how come I have data I missed out. How customer itself is not created and we have sold the items. So left anti. As I don't have right anti, and you can try out after the class how I am going to do the right anti. So what we are going to do is we are going to swap it. So we put the customer outside and we take the sales inside. Let's run this. Now what does this mean? Customer is outside, sales is inside, left anti. The customer for which we have not done any sale. These are the customers for which there is no corresponding data available in sales table, because my data is all perfect schema with everything getting this thing, but you created this sales filter and customer filter where we have kind of scenario. So this data is especially the commands, and you will get it in the blog also. Specially designed you for practicing and understanding these points. And data engineering, all these joins are really important. That's why we are talking about all these joins. So we know left join, right join. Now there are certain times you might have to drop the columns. You bought a data frame, like I have a customer data frame, and in the customer data frame I do have city, state. The same city and state is also available in. So let me showcase you in my geography table also. I don't want to keep it in both the tables. So city and state are there. So how do I drop? If it would have been SQL, you would have seen drop, alter table, drop column, and column names. If it is supported, definitely everything depends on itself. So here we have customer.drop and comma separated list of columns. In the single quotes, you can give a double quote depending on what function you have. And after that, if I display, you see that I don't have state and city. So the original customer which I bought from my PSP, which I have converted into Spark data frame, now doesn't have state and city. Customer DF might still have that pandas one. They have not dropped it there. So in this manner, I can drop the columns. So we learned joins, we learned how to drop it now. Now, what we are doing here is basically what would I now like to do is I would like to do some analysis. I would not like to go every time to Power BI. While you can open Power BI from here. Okay, there are functions, and then there is another article on the Medium and video on the channel where I've shown you how to open a Power BI in the notebook. Yes, you will get that Power BI experience. Yes, we have to identify and drop, or we need to use aliases, if there are duplicate columns. And that's why I dropped it. Actually, before I joined it, I did drop it, because pandas doesn't tell you the difference between the two, or means while you are joining PySpark is not going to get difference. So I did drop some of them before. Now, the next thing which I'm going to do is I'm going to combine all these tables, because I want to do some analysis. Now, the analysis which I want to do is not that I want to put it onto the source lake house or the lake house and then I'm going to create a Power BI report. I do want to analyze this into PySpark. For that, what I'm going to do is, and I could have done it in one data frame, but just for the showcase purpose, I'm first going and joining my customer table using customer ID, creating customer sales. Then I'm creating customer sales geography by joining them on geography. Then look at carefully at the third join, and you should be paying attention to this join. Is basically the reason for that is this time my column names are not. You can see one of the D is capital, and because my joins are not same, I'm now giving a condition. So join with item with a condition sales.item ID equals to item ID, and I'm doing an inner join, and I'm creating sales all data frame where I have everything. It will have a duplicate problem. Duplicate column problem it will. Now I got a combined data frame. I would like to analyze this thing. One of you are telling that register link is not opening. Okay, we'll try it out. Just let me do something. Register link is for basically those who have not applied for the vouchers. So this is the link, and if you want to apply for this, make sure you have created a login on Power BI community using your personal email or your organizational email. So first of all, you have to register yourself. Once you have registered, then you have to click on this 100%, and then only you should be able to apply for that. But see, it's using sign in. Unless you sign in, it's not open. Let me do one thing. Let me give this direct URL in case AKAMS URL is not. This is the URL for applying to the. Let's go back to notebook again. I would like to know all my column names. So how do I print my column names? So sales all dot column is going to give me all the column names, and I can say, so these are my column names. Okay. Now I would like to do some analysis, and before doing that analysis, I want to add some calculation. I think there is a question around. I think already the question has been asked by SS that how do you control the column, so you can select the columns. We do have a select here. I don't think we have used it here, but I think you should be able to find that into the log where we did have selected the columns. How to parameterize the schedule triggers in Fabric. See, parameterize of notebook is possible. We can parameterize notebook. One, what I'm not able to understand is parameterizing the schedule triggers. What do you mean by that? If you need to explain a little bit more, what do you mean by parameterizing of schedule? We can schedule notebooks. We can put them into the pipelines. We can have parameters passing from pipeline, and we can schedule pipelines. And in pipeline, we can put notebooks one after each other if there are dependencies in sequential, in parallel, depending on the need, and then we can schedule it. So we do have pipelines here in Fabric which can work for us. So need little more explanation. Now let's go ahead and look at this. Now, I would like to add some calculations. What are those calculations? So if you remember, so I would like to calculate gross, which is nothing but quantity multiplied by price. I would like to calculate COGS, which is quantity multiplied by cost, and I would like to calculate, discount, and sometimes discount percentage is, can I divide it by 100 also, because my discount percentage is basically absolute column. And then can I, so sales all, see now this time what I'm doing is I'm doing this with column, and I'm using this SQL functions, call and expression. Gross equal to call quantity multiplied by call price, call quantity then call cost, and with column is going to allow us to add a new column. Means take this data frame along with a new column, and you can use the dot with column, you can try that out, that should work. And then finally I'm showing it, and then you can see the data which is coming. Now if you like display, and definitely most of you would prefer to use the display, you can use the display sales all. So now there is a question which I see, is ML possible in PySpark notebooks? That's what it meant for actually. We are doing data engineering. That is basically the secondary objective we are doing. It's formally, it meant for ML. So you not only you can run your ML algorithms, and if you would have watched my channel, I did have discussed, I think, clustering. In one of the videos, I have shown you how to do clustering of the data. So based on various parameter on this sales table itself which I am using, I have done clustering, and I appended that clustering along with that data, and then I have utilized that clustering as one of my slicers or one of my parameters which I want to analyze in my Power BI report. So please go ahead and watch that video. And let me do one thing. I'll give you that series link that has a lot of content. Only thing is, initial videos are very old UI. I started in 2023 when Fabric has started. So some of the UIs kind of like ancient UI for Fabric now. So you will not be able to see when I'm talking about some of those things. You'll see, oh, from where it is coming, it's now not matching. So I think first 15-20 videos you can definitely ignore, especially if they are talking about very specific topic. But yes, if it is a concept video, you can definitely watch that. So all those things have been discussed there. Now we'll move forward. Keep on posting your questions and comments, and if something I'm unable to answer right now, I'll take it up later. Okay. So we are data engineer. How to read multiple text file? I think you can loop them, isn't it? Now there are various ways, like if wildcard function is supported, then you can use that. Otherwise you can loop in hidden names. Now how you want to read it in PySpark, then maybe you can write down a for loop and you can do it. If you're using in pipeline, we have wildcard character there. You can use all of them in using the wildcard character and then combine them. It combines, pipeline automatically combines when you read a folder and wildcard, then it combines it. Here you can use, append kind of stuff. We do have, we have not showcased you, but we do have functions for, uh, putting data one below each other. So you can use those. Now, before I want to go ahead to, I definitely want to learn, see, the entire analysis depends on few things. Group by aggregation, isn't it? So the data engineering was all about filtering, joining, filtering, selecting columns, creating formulas, and grouping data and analyzing it. So most of the thing we have learned. The time has come that we also learn about how do we group the data. So sales all, we are going to create this city state. So sales all dot group by city comma state. When we are grouping, there should be certain columns which we are going to aggregate, isn't it? I just don't want to take distinct value of city and state. That's not the objective. So I want to analyze city state wise sales, let's say. So then I'll use the function aggregate agg, and I'm able to use because I already imported the equal in the last cell. And as this, if you come down directly to this cell, you might be surprised what is happening here. But if you see here, we already imported, Spark SQL function, call and expression. That's why we are able to do that. Now aggregate function, expression. Now what is the expression? This is basically SQL expression, nothing but SQL expression. Sum of gross as total gross, sum of cogs as total cogs, sum of discount as total. And then finally I have to show or I can display it, okay? Friends. So we are able to analyze the data. Now I do have in blog multiple things which I have showcased you. Now you can visualize this also. Can we attach a notebook to a lake house? Everything, it need to be. To run it, or means if you want to schedule it, it need to be have a default lake house. If you see here, we have this add data items. We have to attach it. Clicking on this existing lake house or new lake house and attach it. And if you are doing only one, then it is default. We need to have a lake house. What we did beginning. Now, next thing is I definitely want to save all these things into delta format. So to save into the delta format, what are the options? So we have done some analysis and all those. Okay, every data looks correct. Now I want to save my sales delta table. Okay, we have. I don't think I have created sales delta today. Let's try it out. I don't think. So sales dot write format delta, save as sales delta. Now reason I'm saving it with the name sales delta, because what happened typically, this is a very common name which I'm using for all my table sales. So there might be a confusion. So that's why, to avoid that, I'm saving my initial sales dot write dot format is delta. Delta parquet is the full name, but it is known as delta. My mistake not to take house warehouse. We can do warehouse. And again, refer back to the series. Now we can attach the warehouse, and there are functions specifically designed for warehouse which we can use. And this PySpark is supported on warehouse in a limited manner. And if you want, I can give you the reference exact video. Just give me a second. Let me see if I can give you very specific video on that. Okay, so this is the video. I'm going to give you Fabric Warehouse PySpark notebook. This feature came in some time back only. And one of you are asking, please share how to understand and find the cost association notebook and Spark. I think the best way is you install the app, and I think tomorrow we are going to discuss that. There is an app, what we call that as cost. There is a app here. We have the cost allocation or app is there. We're going to refer that tomorrow. Using that, you will be able to see exactly how many CUs you are consuming for each operation, each notebook, and based on that you can find out the appropriate cost. So we have that Fabric. There are two apps, and we are going to look into both those apps tomorrow. So they are help you in managing that. Okay, cost allocation app is going to help. We're going to refer that tomorrow. So tomorrow we'll look into both the apps. We'll install those apps. Right now I have not installed this here in this one. I just kept it that when we are going to do that session, then only we are going to install it. Capacity matrix app is one, and then there is a if you look at here plus, oh, I created no. So if you go to the apps home tab, usually we have app itself here. You go to here apps, then you will see get apps, and then Fabric. Capacity matrix is the one app. Fabric chargeback, cost allocation is the name is chargeback reporting. Chargeback is the app which tells you exactly how many CUs every operation is consuming, and that is where you can, okay, you know, per day I have, let's say, 2 million CUs or 5 million CUs in my capacity and how much I'm consuming from them, and that is where you will be able to do the allocation of your cost. Chargeback will help you out in that. Capacity matrix do tell how much capacity you are utilizing, and that's where you are going to say, because I'm going to get all the CUs, not going to tell me what is my 100% CU. So looking at the chargeback app, let's say today I have consumed 50% of my capacity. Okay, the 50% means these many CUs. So what is my cost of per day CU? So both these app combined is going to solve the purpose. Okay, we'll go back to our notebook. We jumped out of it without saving the table. So chargeback app and the Fabric capacity app. That's going to help you out. Let's run this, save the table in the Delta format. So it's got saved, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you one more method, and then we are going to go ahead and check both of them out. I need to refresh these tables to check it out. So another method is geography.write.format. Delta mode is overwrite. I want to specify the mode and save. Then I can give table/dbo/geography. Now, if I have more than one schema, I can specify the schema there. Okay. So both are saved. Now what I can do is I can go ahead and refresh the tables or refresh the schemas. I can see both the tables here. There are some additional commands. If you look at the blogs, you can go ahead and explore out, and especially how to look at history is also something which you should be learning. So if you run some update statement and you want to look back at the history, you should also try it out. So now this is PySpark, but we have a very strong engine of Spark SQL also. Some of you, okay, scale up or I need to check out the scale up and scale down here, because typically we are associating environment here, and usually it takes up the 10 nodes and do the auto scale for us. It's basically SAS, so we are using it, but I can check it out. How do we scale up? And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop this Spark session, because what I want to do is I want to also learn the few more things in Spark. Well, now those who are coming from the T-SQL world might want to, it's very similar stuff. So what I can do is I can also go ahead and start a new notebook, which actually I can use for Spark SQL. And it is not necessary that I can't do it here. I can actually have a new cell, and in that cell I can start writing down my Spark SQL. I can have that, but I just want to keep it a little clean, both of them separately. So I'm going to go back to my lake house, and then I'm going to use these three dots, open notebook, and this option is actually in the middle, but because I have zoomed out, so because of that I'm not getting that option. New notebook, and this notebook is something where I'm going to run some Spark SQL commands so that we play around with that. Now, so again, it has by default attached a lake house, and let me bring in my, so definitely I would like to understand, because I know T-SQL is not going to read and write, create tables for me, but can Spark SQL can do for that. And what I'm going to do is from the top I'm going to change the language so the entire session becomes Spark SQL, and I don't have to again go and change it. You can have you can change between PySpark and Spark SQL wherever you need, but prefer using a single language in a particular node. I think one of you are asking about high concurrency and native. I think you are asking about the standard session versus the high concurrency session, if I understand it correctly. Where was that? I think we have it here only, connect. See, the standard session is everything, like I'm running this one, this will start a new session. Now, high concurrency session is typically when you are using the same environment and the same user within the same workspace is running, then they can use the same session instead of starting session and again, so that they can utilize the same session. So that's where we use the high concurrency session. So right now there is no high concurrency session available because I have stopped the other one. I could have tried using it on the other notebook. Typically in the pipeline we do that so that we don't spend time in starting new sessions and continue to use the existing sessions. And we also don't underutilize our Spark because we want to start the nodes. So just to make sure that we use high concurrency. Environment, I think you have to explore. I don't think we'll get enough time. You can go ahead and click on new environment and do it, but definitely I share the article a little later. We are a little short on the time today, and as per the planned agenda also we don't have next session on Spark, but I'll just also try to share some article on the configuration of environment or a video in the WhatsApp group or also in the chat here or the comments here. Okay, so let's quickly create a table. Create table if not exists. If the table does not exist, sales. Why I'm saying, because I might have a sales table. Just quickly check it out. I don't have order ID, order date, customer ID, product ID, quantity, unit. Now T-SQL can't do it. Spark SQL can do it. We can create a table, and we would also be able to insert the data. So first it start the Spark sessions. It gives you how much time it does take to start the Spark session, and after the Spark session, for very first time when you load it, it may take the time to load the schemas and everything. So it may take a little time to run the very first command, but post that it would be much faster. So we have created it. Now we would like to insert the data. So I'm going to bring in that data. Again, this data would be available with you on the GitHub. If not, let me know. I'll supply you these things. Insert into, again, same, very similar T-SQL insert into values. After sales, you can give the column name which you want to insert. If you are not inserting all the not null columns, all the null columns, if you are not inserting, not null, you have to insert. There is no escape from that. And then you can go ahead and write down the values. If you are inserting all of them, you can have values. It's doing nothing, but it is giving me order ID, order date, customer ID, product, quantity, price, discount percentage, and the gross is getting calculated here. If you might be a little surprised what is happening, gross multiply by quantity, multiply by discount percentage, and 1 minus 0.05 is basically going to create this one, what you call the net. Called as gross, but it's actually net which is getting created. Now, How do we check the data? Do I need a DF here? No, I can do it. Select star from sales. I'll get the data. And it by default display it inside the display kind of a UI. So same display UI, same chart, same everything. Download, new chart, everything what you get. How we are, engineers, we don't trust the things easily. So we would also like to see whether it can update. PySpark can create, PySpark can insert, whether it can update. So we'll run one update statement. Update sales discount percentage is 15.0. That will also change the gross quantity, which is actually net here, where order date is between this and this. So we'll update the data also. Now there are a couple of questions. Can we edit data file in LH? Prefer means when you say data file in LH, it means I'm using the PySpark command. I'm running an update. Please remember, data format has Parquet, and Parquet file cannot be edited. So that is why the data format came in, so that it creates that logs and manage those multiple files, and it still give you the capability of insert, update and delete, while actually you are not able to change the file. So Parquet file is not changed. You are getting additional file. And in the where I think when we go back, I'll just try to showcase you. Okay, and what somebody says, create a boolean parameterize, which is, I think Srinivas is answering for someone. Ranjit, please show me the small script in Jupyter Notebook and VS Code. It will help or your me. Okay, so you want Jupyter Notebook. I think this is very similar to Jupyter Notebook. I think, are you asking that how do we connect these things with the Lakehouse warehouse in VS Code and run it from the desktop? I did have few videos, and I passed the series where I did have connected using token and without using token with the Lakehouse and warehouse, and done some operations in the past. So I think from 18 number, between 18th video to 25th video, 28th video, I did have done something from the desktop when I use the VS Code, and then I've done some operation directly on the Lakehouses and warehouses. So there are videos available. Hopefully you got the series link. So I have done those videos. Yeah, definitely there's no blog around that, but I did have given the code in my Medium. So if Medium, you will find some code, the code for that video, this video. So that is the code which I have executed from VS Code. And again, Jupyter Notebook, again, if you use the similar kind of connector or token, we should be able to use Jupyter. So I'm able to update here. Again, after update, I can see if the data is getting updated. Again, that series is a little older, but I think I've covered most of the things, most of the concepts initially when I'm doing that. If you can just, bear with the UIs which are a little older, I think good series to have all those things. While it is selecting, I'm going to type in the next command, because, one of the biggest thing which we, want to do when we actually deal with PySpark or Spark SQL, and especially the lake houses, that we have the history. We manage everything. Okay, we created the table, we returned the table, we updated the table, and with the timestamp we have, see, within this 29th second and the 31st second, we have a different version, the unedited, the version which is insert not updated. Okay, and then I can go ahead and query one of those versions. So select star from sales where the version as of 1. So version 1, I am querying the one which is not having the updates. Okay, so if you remember, look at this 0808. If you go and look at this 0808 here, I think we changed between which dates? Update statement. 01 and 04 we have changed. So 01 it is 15%, 04 it is 15%, first two rows. And when you look at this version which we have again query, 01 is 5%, 04 is 0%, 02 is 0%. So these are the rows which we have updated. Now I am looking back into the past. That's what we call time travel. So I'm looking back into the past, going to the version 1 and checking it out. And that's the beauty of Delta. Okay. I did have shared, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to I think the question is coming, sharing the medium. uh, I will do one thing is, I'm not sure I can share you all the articles one by one. I'll share the my URL of medium. That should help you out. This is the profile. You should be able to see code, and I have already passed the series above. Please scroll little up and check out the series. We do need to execute couple more commands before we wrap up for the today. So let's quickly go back. I'm now lost between you. Just give me a second. I'm just bringing in another one. Okay. And then another way, I can use the timestamp also. So select star from says timestamp as of. Now there is a little difference between T-SQL. So those of you who watch the T-SQL and just don't try to use it like T-SQL here. I'm running Spark SQL. It's very similar, but the syntax is different. There is no bracket inside on timestamp or something like that. Timestamp as of, and I need to now get the timestamp because this is not the correct timestamp. The timestamp, or maybe I can get the create timestamp maybe a second after that. I may get an empty table. Let's change it to 30. I'm expecting it works. I should get an empty table. Why I'm getting the empty table? This is the time between my create and insert. There is no data traveled in the past with no data. Same way you can run the delete. I'll just quickly show you how to run the delete statement. And again, you can go back and look into the past. Let's say you have deleted by mistake, isn't it? What will you do? You have restore table to the version as of. You can restore it back to the version, but you need to know the version, isn't it? You can go back and run this command again. I usually don't go back because I want to just see. So delete is the version 3. So if I by mistake deleted the data, I can go ahead and say restore table is to the version as of 2. My delete is gone. Okay. So, and then similarly we have alter table, which also works. Not everything works on alter table. You can't rename the columns. You may not be able to change everything. And similarly, there are PySpark commands also, which allows you to look into the versions. Sometimes you can use spark.sql also just to get it. So this is there. Now one of the questions which is there, how the files are reacting to it, and that's the last thing which you are going to take. And after that we are going to wrap up and we're going to meet tomorrow again for a session. So we would like to go back to this lake house and let's refresh this schema and look at this sales table. This is the table where we have done multiple transactions, and look at view files. You see the files here, and let me do one thing. Let me you see these are multiple files which are getting created because of the operations we are doing on this table. Okay, so 1 KB, 4 KB, 4 KB, and then there is a delta log which maintain your versions, and then there is a current version always going to be, then there are checkpoints which are also maintained. We are doing multiple. So these multiple Parquet files, and then metadata knows which one to pick it up. Based on that, we always get our current. So Parquet files are immutable. They cannot be overwritten. The way to manage is using the multiple files, the delta format. That's how we are managing it. So we will end today's session here. You can continue post your question. I'll just see if I can take a few more, and I'll also do one thing. Let me share the link for tomorrow's session. so that you can join again the same time. The time is again 7 a.m. and thank you all who are joining it such early morning, especially in India. And I know few people from UK also joins it, and few people from UST East joins it, which is also a little late evening for them. Thank you all who are able to make it to this session, and I'm hoping of all of you might have got your DP700 vouchers. If you are still not get it, I'm just going to start a fresh poll. Just check out your mail by today end of day. Your end of day means, or maybe those who are in US tomorrow morning, and by the evening of India time, I'll just again start a poll. Just check out your inboxes, spam, or the junk, and see did you get the coupons for DP or vouchers for the DP700. If not, do let me know. I will check it out. So thank you all for attending it today morning. I appreciate you spending time with this DP700 session, and I wish you all of good luck for getting DP700. Thank you all. I'm going to stop the streaming now.